Hi guys, this is Jack with Team Empire, and today we are back. This is Lupe, Frank, Tony, and I. We just got back from Clash of Nations Season 2, Lyrical Monestario. Say hi, guys.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's Big Tony.
Yeah.
There's
W.
Frank. And then I'm the cameraman this time. JC couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, rip. So what happened was, the deck I played at the event was Flagburg, my favorite deck. I just wanted to take it again because I always have fun with it, and I made some nice little changes. But I got 6th place, made the top 8. Tony also made it the top 8. We'll have his deck profile up in a second, and he'll explain to you what happened there. But we got 6 in top 8. Fortunately, we lost to a Chronojet player, but let's talk about the rounds after we cover the deck, which should be pretty quick. So for ride line, we played the Zorga ride line because there is a new order that released with set 12 or set 11. My bad. It is the Mythiarch Habitat, which is an amazing card, incredible. So being able to discard those and then recover them back using your Black Tears and Rancor Chains is really nice. Drawing more pieces, which can lead to your Restanders or Persona rides. And then obviously Flagburg Dragon. I don't think if you know anything about Flagburg, you don't need this explained, but verbatim. Attack Vanguard, counterblast 1, draw 1, retire 2, and then 3 to guard. That's pretty much it for Flagburg. Then we play 3 Persona because you always want to play 3 Persona. Flagburg cannot win without Persona Ride. And then another obvious one, 4 copies of Inlet Pulse. It's played in almost every other Stoicheia deck. So imagine not playing in Flagburg, which is where it belongs. Next up, we do play the one of Shelling Cannon Dragon. I used to be a hard advocate against this card, and it's kind of my bad because the card is really good. The only problem is you have to use 2 CB every turn, which sometimes you don't have Prize Trident, so there are times you don't want to use this card. But in those cases where you have extra damage, using it for that 6th attack, or sometimes using it for that 5th attack, if you don't have access to another Restander, is really good for you. Also, it allows you to use 2 Inlet Pulses in Flagburg because you put 2 Inlet Pulses in the front and then have a Shelling Cannon in the back. So you swing, restand, swing, 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 and then still have Flagburg for the 5 attacks. So the reason I want to play one of it is because Shelling Cannon is also searchable now using Forbital. So really nice card. As for the other Restander we play, Eric's, or as I call her, just Alex, because that's what she originally was. She's really good, and I think I've already explained it in the second deck profile. Basically, end of the second battle, you Soul Blast 1, stand her, and she gets 5k. So she's a really good Restander that powers herself up. And this build, I don't know if anyone noticed, I don't play any extra Restanders, so basically you can't get 5 attacks on turn 3 in this build. And that might have been a mistake, but it worked out pretty well because most of the time my opponents don't really have that big of a field. So normally we'll just go 3 attack Flagburg, CB1 to draw, and then use her if we're going first. She's 15k, and we stack triggers on here, making it 25 to 35, really annoying numbers, while our opponents on grade 2. So Alex is great, love her. Grade 1s now, we play 3 copies of Prize Trident, only 3 because I actually didn't use them that much. Most of the time decks just like get big numbers, and you can't really guard a lot of those in the later game, so you just use it when you need it, which is when you're at 4 or 5 damage face down. But I always discard them when they're early, or just call them when they're early, but don't expect to use the effect. And plus, with your main 2 Restanders, which are Alex and your Inlet Pulse, they just use Soul. They use 2 Soul every turn, and refueling Soul is super easy in this deck. So basically just get 1 CB every single turn for Flagburg, and you'll be good. So you don't really need a lot of Prize Tridents, which I know may seem like heresy to other Flagburg players. I play 3 copies of, I always fuck up her name. It is Tier Knight Diantha. I don't know her name. But basically, she's one of my favorite cards in the deck because she's a Diantha that you don't need to call. You can just call her down, and she has the act effect. If you have Vanguard of Flagburg, you counterblast 1, pitch 1, choose a graveyard or less from your drop, call it, and it gets 5k. One problem I always had with Diantha was that it was first on place, but also it only gave itself the 5k power, and you had to have conditions. With this, you can call your Restanders, and give him 5k, making him really annoying to guard against on either Persona Ride turns or just regular turns. Plus, it helps you recover against Gondiva matchups, but I never faced a Gondiva. I'm pretty sure there were barely any Gondivas in the tournament, were there?
I didn't see. Frank faced one. That's
Yeah,
the only
Frank
one I
faced
saw.
one, but I don't think I saw another one. But she's still really good, just to help you recover your restanders. Next, we play another new card. This is from set 12. This is Wavecrest Brave Shooter. I might bump this guy up even more because he's really nice. When he's a Burning Horn for his first effect. When placed in Rigid Circle, counter +1. Search top 7 for a Flagburg. Put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. If you did not find one, you countercharge. So being able to drop these down early, CB1, try to search for Flagburg, and if you don't, you still can conserve your resources while also rushing your opponent, is very nice. Second effect, never used it once. But basically, at the end of the battle, it boosted. If it was the 4th attack of the turn or more, you can put him into Soul. But like, there's not really any point to do it. I never struggled with Soul at all. But just in case you did, he has extra utility. Or if you're putting him in front of your Vanguard, and you want to like clear him off the board for next turn Shelling Cannon, you can just shove him into Soul. So, really nice card for the Searcher. I might consider bumping it up since, like I said, Persona Ride's so essential in Flagburg. But I never really struggled seeing my Persona Ride. In fact, the game I lost, I had too many Persona Rides in my hand. So, maybe it's this guy's fault. The one of, I might just change later on, is one copy of the Jewel Beast. The Jewel Beast is very nice because I only use it for a 20k shield. I didn't use it for its unique effect, which is Soul Charge 2, and choose one of your units and it gets 5k. That might have been alright to use in some cases, but Soul Charge 2 is kind of rough, especially when we Soul Charge our triggers. But I wish that was an optional Soul Charge, so you can still give one of your units 5k, which can be your restanders. But I only used it for the early game 20k shield, which did go insane in certain matchups, because sometimes your opponent could just stack triggers on there, like 28, and I'm like, ooh, easy, 30k. You know, just drop that like immediately. I was playing the Blitz Order in this spot, and this is basically just a better Blitz Order, because I can call it if I want to. And then PGs along with the Elementaria. Just obviously, like, Elementaria actually did come up because I faced 2 Jets in the tournament, so it did matter. And then for the orders we play, we only play 5, and that's 4 copies of Mythiarch Habitat and 1 copy of Forbidal. Forbidal is great because you can search for your Inlet Pulse and your Shelling Cannon from the deck or drop, so that's why we play a 1 out of Shelling Cannon. And Mythiarch Habitat is like the best thing to ever happen to Stoicheia in a long time, because for those of you who don't know what it does, it is a top 7 search your deck for any unit card with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard and call it, but you can also search itself, and then when it calls itself, it actually goes to your hand instead of drop. So a lot of time I used it really early then and just found another copy of it, put it into my hand so I can use it next turn and then another card out of the deck. This card's just incredible, and I never really had trouble seeing my orders this tournament. I only missed the Rancor Chain 1 time. I only had this card 2 once. Because most of the time I mull for this, or mull for this. Just because, like, they're just so essential and so good for the deck. And they help me recover against matchups like Jet, or, Gondiva, or other matchups that retire, just because it helps you keep up with them. That's it for the orders. Finally, we play 7 crit. Yeah, I know these are the same. L. But you do want to play these in Flagburg. You always want to, just because there are times where you have to call these triggers and then put them to Soul for some of your restanders that use Soul. But for the tournament, I never had to, which was very rare. Normally, you always have to, but I think I just did a good job conserving my Soul. I've seen lists play 8 crit, and I do kind of agree, but normally, whenever I take my lists from like 4 draw to 3, I like never see draws anymore. It's weird, but I love 4 draw. 4 draw for me is optimal, just because like hitting them defensively always feels so nice, and I never had a problem with decking out, because Flagburg used to have the problem with decking out, but now other decks draw way more cards than it, like on average. So they're decking out before me. So I want to be able to draw those extra cards to keep up with the opponents. Then we play 3 copies of the regular heal and 1 copy of the restander heal, which is really funny because I only faced 1 deck that actually restood, and it was Bastion, and I didn't need to use it. So the other decks were kind of rough because I faced Chronojet, I faced Vermilion round 1. What are ones? What were my other opponents?
Orphis.
Orphis, yeah, and this didn't come in handy for that either. Like, but I still recommend you putting them in there, especially when set 13 comes out, because we'll have Jeweled, Vivas, or Leonore. What else do we have? Nirvana, a ton of decks that restand. So, Avant-Garde. And Frank's literally like yelling to me in the back, Avant-Garde, sweet.
Yeah, and then even right now it's really good because you have Greedon, Hexor,
Bastion, Willista, which we never faced a Willista, thank God. There really wasn't.
Yeah, not at all.
Especially for Class of Nations Lyrical, no Lyrical.
No Lyrical.
I think the most represented was probably Magnolia Mask and Orphis Mask.
That's weird. Like, I wasn't.
And Bastion.
Yeah,
Bastion, yeah.
The new form.
And Stoichia Overtrigger. I've seen a couple Flagburg lists play the Red OT, which is fine, but like Stoichia one is insane. Like, people underestimate this order. It draws 2, gives 10k to your front row, which does not matter in this deck in the slightest, but it heals. More importantly, it's a crit, draw, and it's a heal, which is really nice because we do go to high damage pretty early in Flagburg because we don't want them to heal defensively on our restanding attacks. And that's it for the deck itself. As for my matchups, not a lot to talk about in terms of like specifics. I think I played every game the best I could. First round was against Vermilion. It was overall pretty easy because I kept drawing cards and Vermilion does not draw. Like, that's one of its main weaknesses, doesn't draw any cards. And he legitimately forgot to use the self-damage effect, which didn't matter. I had like 1 damage. I was fine.
You mean the ping, right?
The ping, yeah, sorry. The deal 1 damage by discarding a card. He forgot to do it. But I just happened, like, I searched Persona Ride and I killed him the next turn. Second round was against Bastion. He was playing like an unconventional build. He didn't play Alden, which I think if he did, he would have been like a much better position. But he used like Sages. He had double Sages, but he wasn't seeing any triggers. And so we managed to like clear his back row, and he made a major misplay on his prime turn. Like, I don't know what he was doing. I think his main thing was he had Rondalia and Soul. And so what he was going to do was like Soul Blast it out, but he forgot its main skill, where like you Soul Blast it to give 1 of your grade 3 regards boost. I think he got the 2 skills mixed up. He thought you Soul Blasted it to give all your grade 3 regards boost, but that's not how it worked. So we managed to survive his prime turn. Third round was against what was third round against? Can't remember if the 4th round was my Jet. I think, no, third round was Jet. Overall, it was a pretty nice game. Very back and forth. He actually hit over on his offensively on his first Fate Rider turn, which was rough, but I had like multiple PGs in my hand. But I had to use all of them in order to like not die that turn and be at 4. He survived my Persona Ride turn, but it was with very low cards in his hand, so he immediately went to the next stage. And we managed to guard his next stage turn, except for 1 attack. 1 attack, she did have the crit, so we had to chance it on the Chronojet swing. And we managed to check a heal on 5th damage, so we managed to survive that turn and just kill him on the clackback. Then 4th round was against Orphis Mask, which I don't know what his placement is in the tourney right now, but his name is Bruce. Super nice guy, super cool. There was not a lot I could do against him. He was my only loss in Swiss because I went X1. He just had like he was very consistent. He got his mask. He went second, so he got his Persona Ride. He had 2 Polar Arxis, so he like drew 2 cards along with triple drive. He had like a ton of cards in his hand. He healed down. Like, he just caught up with everything I was doing. And I also like lost all my heals early. So there was no way I could keep up with the scaling power of Orphis. If I did survive though, he had 1 card in deck, so I would have won. But it's okay. It happens. And then 5th round was against Megalonozuchi, which it was easier than expected because he didn't actually. He whiffed on seeing his Unprecedents in Soul, so he wasn't able to call any of them. So his first grade 3 turn was not that great, so I could just be at 1, and then he dealt me next Persona Ride turn. He hit me with like 3 more damage, which was fine because I was at 1 damage. So I was cool with taking it, and I just killed him on the next turn. And then finally, we have top 8, which is the only round I played in top 8 was against another Jet. I think it was a pretty good game. The only problem was I didn't have a single PG in my hand the entire game. And I managed to get him down to like up to 5 damage. I would have gotten him 6, but he did 6 damage heal, which is a little unfortunate. But what was really unfortunate is that he had to go into the next stage and only had 1 rear guard, but I was at 4 damage. And they're all face down. So what I had to do was, I guarded his Jet because he had 5 crits left in the deck. He saw 1 crit off his, next stage. He got 1 crit off next stage, put it on his rear guard, then went back to Jet. Swung with his upstream which had the crit. So I had to guard it, and he literally needed a single crit off of Jet in order to win, and it was his last check. So I think if I went to 5 earlier, he wouldn't have been able to 5th damage heal off of my crit off Persona return, and I would have won the game. But there's no way I could have known that, but I could have taken a chance there since I was playing against Jet. It's not like I'm going to survive with like a 5-card hand anyways, whether I'm at 4 or 5. So you might as well just try and kill them as soon as you can. But it was a really fun event. I really enjoyed myself. I'm glad that I got to top once again with this deck because it's my favorite deck in the game. Every time I come back to it, it's always just so much fun. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all hope you like the video. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.